The UFC has had some pretty interesting characters show up over the past few years, but the main person we're talking about stands out amongst the rest of them. So what are we talking about? Well, stay tuned because in today's video, we're going to discuss the UFC fighter who says he practices polygamy, says it's normal to have 2 wives, and some other UFC news. First up is UFC fighter who says he practices polygamy, says it's normal to have 2 wives. The UFC always has some interesting people throughout its divisions, but this one fighter in the flyweight division comes across as very different from the rest of them. Zhalgas Zhumagulov has stated that he practices polygamy and that he also has 6 children with his 2 wives. According to him, the practice in principle is normal. During an interview on the podcast Let Me Interrupt You, MMA, he stated, "At first, there were challenges, but now everything is fine." He said, "Yes, I have 2 wives and 2 children. Polygamy is illegal throughout North America, South America, and the European Union, but it is legal or socially accepted in around 70 countries around the world," according to the New Yorker. The fighter happened to be born in the Aktobe region in Kazakh SSR in 1988. Polygamy is actually illegal in Kazakhstan, but it was decriminalized in 1988. Describing the living arrangement with his families, Zhumagulov said, "Well, where did I leave from? If I left, for example, from my second wife, I go to the first. If I left the first, I go to the second. A day here, a day there." Despite all of this polygamy business, no one really seems to care, as it is, of course, doesn't affect his fighting at all. The UFC fighter has fought 4 times for the UFC and only lost 1 of those. It's unclear whether he'll fight again in the octagon, but if he needs that win, he'll certainly try and get back in at some later date. And now on to some more UFC news. Next up, we have Khabib Nurmagomedov's legacy question after Charles Oliveira's UFC title win. Charles Oliveira has recently picked up his 10th straight win by submitting Poirier just a few weeks ago. But this win also brings into question the legacy of Khabib. Nurmagomedov officially retired from the sport earlier this year after beating top contenders Justin Gaethje, Conor McGregor, and Poirier in his final 3 fights. But Sonnen thinks Khabib's legacy has been damaged by the emergence of Oliveira as the best lightweight in the world. Sonnen went on to say that Khabib left the decision having told the world that he has cleaned it out, nobody can compete with him. But there was a guy there. This isn't a new era. Oliveira was there when Khabib was there, and they never did cross paths. This wasn't some younger guy. Oliveira is 2 or 3 years older than Khabib, and now they have a common opponent known as Dustin Poirier. Oliveira disposed of Poirier 61 seconds faster than Khabib. Anybody that wants to talk about legacy and then tell me I can't do the math I just did doesn't know what legacy means. He's completely right. Khabib left the UFC because he thought he was at the top of the top and that no one could contest him at all. Now that we've seen the emergence of Oliveira, Khabib might actually come out of retirement to prove that he is the best of the best. Oliveira is actually ruining what Khabib stood for because he thought he was the top, but it looks like Charles Oliveira might actually be better than Khabib. If he takes down some of the same opponents as Khabib, or even better fighters in a better way, then the match between Khabib and Charles might actually happen. If Khabib wants to come out of retirement to prove his legacy, still clear and worth standing upon. Now we have Nate Diaz offers to fight Dustin Poirier in January. Poirier responds, "I'm in." Both Nate Diaz and Dustin Poirier have recently been looking for their next fight, and it looks like they both might meet in the octagon in January, according to insiders and from Diaz himself. They've been attacking one another on Twitter for the past few months, so they at least really want to beat one another up. Just a few weeks ago, Poirier appeared on the MMA Hour and stated that a fight with Nate Diaz would be on the cards and that he is interested in the match. Diaz stated that "I'm in" when referring to a match with Poirier as well. Poirier and Diaz originally were scheduled to fight in 2018 at UFC 230, but the fight fell apart. Both fighters blamed each other for the cancellation. Diaz criticized Poirier for dropping out to address a long-standing hip injury, and Poirier countered that Diaz's contract demands with the UFC scuttled the fight before it came to fruition. This fight would actually make a lot of sense and would make January an amazing month for UFC and fighting fans. We are seeing UFC 270 take place in January of next year, which also features a location in California, which is Diaz's home state. The fight card is currently taken up with some really large and headliner fights, but that could all change if Diaz and Poirier set a date. According to MMA UFCfighting.com, a bout between Poirier and Diaz would almost certainly occupy a headlining spot on PPV card. Recently, the January 22nd fight card was downsized by one bout when middleweights Derek Brunson and Jared Cannonier were moved to UFC 271. What do you think about this fight? Would you want to see these two legends meet in the octagon, and would it be a great fit for January? Let us know down below in the comments. And now, Israel Adesanya calls cap on UFC 271 booking. Dana White fires back, when have we ever effing lied? Israel Adesanya is one of the biggest and best UFC fighters right now, and everyone loves to see his crazy tactics and fighting style in the octagon. Looks like there's also some sort of confusion over his next fight with Robert Whittaker. This will be their second match together, so it's important to let everyone know it's happening. Dana White commented on the situation, stating that it's a go, but Israel Adesanya stated that it's capped, which means he's lying. Informed of the apparent snafu at the UFC 269 post-fight press conference, White was confused and visibly irritated. Seeking answers from the UFC's chief operating officer, Hunter Campbell, he was informed that the promotion had it in writing that Adesanya had agreed to the fight, but it didn't take him long to pivot. Listen, if he doesn't want to fight Whittaker, okay, then I guess we'll find another fight, White said. Who gives an S? I definitely don't give an S. I don't want the Whittaker fight to be on. Okay, then find something else. Dana White seems really angry at Adesanya, as he knows that there wouldn't be a lie in sight for this card. What do you think's going on? Is Adesanya getting cold feet, or is Dana White really lying? And finally, we have Tyron Woodley versus Jake Paul is on. We were all ready for the match between Jake Paul and Tommy Fury on December 15th, but things clearly went wrong. Tommy pulled out of the fight due to injury and illness, but most think that he pulled out because he's scared of Jake Paul. Regardless of the situation, Jake needs a new opponent. One has finally been confirmed, and 3 days later on the 18th of December, Tyron Woodley will get his rematch against Jake Paul. Finally, this fight is still really hyped because everyone wants to see Jake Paul finally fall onto the canvas. So far throughout Jake Paul's boxing career, the only person to get him close to falling down was Tyron Woodley. Woodley failed in his mission to take down Paul in their last match because he was too passive in the match. Tyron Woodley is known for being aggressive and hunting down his opponent. If he brings that to his next boxing match, he has a great chance of taking down Paul. When asked about why he never went for that attack to take down Jake, Tyron Woodley stated that my shoulder was sore. Whilst appearing on the MMA Hour, Woodley stated, I ain't gonna lie, I wanted to knock him out, but my shoulder was swollen before I was just kind of swinging on pure thug energy from MMA, not just giving a hell. Woodley wasn't exactly lying in his instance, as he had suffered a shoulder from his fighting back in 2017, and it clearly hasn't fully healed yet. He even had surgery to make it heal better. Seems that this injury is still interfering with his fighting capability, but we'll see what happens in the next bout in the upcoming days. And that's the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed this latest video. If you did, would you please let us know down in the comment section below? It'd be very helpful. Also, make sure to like the video, comment down below, and of course subscribe to the channel with the notification bell rung. Thank you for watching today's video. Bye.